Hello, hello to the audience. Hi, how are you doing? Hopefully, each and every one of you is doing good. It's all right. I am joined by Robert, and we will be talking about the Mad Max Casino state of Germany. Robert, could you please introduce yourself to the audience a little bit, please?
Thank you, Nico. I'm Robert Lenzhofer. I'm the co-founder and CEO of 𝗕𝗲𝘁 It's a made in Germany, brand new independent video slot studio.
Awesome. Robert, as of now, there are kind of interesting statements floating around about the German market, Germany. So we've just seen a gold media study, which has been filed for Flutter, Entain, and GreenTube for Merkur, stating that 49% of the revenue might shift to the black market. Today, Gustav Hagmann, the CEO of LeoVegas, stated that around 70 or 80% are shifting towards companies who are, let's state this a little bit defensive, are not fully compliant with the upcoming gambling treaty. How come, Robert? These are mad statements.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Let's put it like this. Let's put it mildly. I think the intent, of course, with every regulator is good. You want to slow down play a little bit. You want to make sure people don't tilt. You want to put limits on play, and you want to earn some tax. This is where everybody starts. Yeah, and then you have different solutions to the problems, and some are, worse than others. Basically, the big issue, of course, is that it's the timeline, how everything is being implemented, and how you have sort of, let's call them black periods in the implementation is a big problem, because right now, before 1st of July and before the tax law is being implemented, a lot of companies are maybe even not 100% certain if or weren't 100% certain if the law will actually come into force. The tax law hasn't passed yet. The gambling law just has passed a month ago. So it's almost like you could almost, from a business perspective, reasonably say, well, I'm not sure if it's going to pass. I'm going to, play against, let's say, MGA rules, and this sort of half reasonable, thought process a lot of companies took. And went, especially with live casino, with table games. That's the big one. That's a big chunk, which everybody else who operated white left on the table, literally. And then €1 stake limit, 5-second spins, with relatively high RTPs. So at these levels, with 97, 96% RTP, it's hard to have enough sort of entertainment value, even, let's call it positively, in the regulation. And yeah, all the numbers are correct. But I mean, on a more positive note, yeah, the 49% or 51% is predicted to be white. So that's not, it's really bad, but it's not Titanic, yeah.
Okay, so getting back to the overall regulation in Germany. So we have the gambling treaty, which will be effective from the 1st of July. The gaming authority will be set up in Halle, beginning by 1st of July. They're still looking, so they already got the real estate, obviously, but they're still looking for employees. So having the gambling treaty on our mind, right? So we know the requirements. How can we actually certify a game to offer in casino? There are rumors floating around. Obviously, the PTB, which is the in German Physikalische-Technische Bundesanstalt, which usually certifies all the terminals which are in the retail business, they already stated, okay, we are not certifying casino games. MGA is in place, and usually they only certify games with an RTP of 92%. So what's your thought about this one? Who's going, first of all, to certify the games which operators will be able to offer to their players?
Yeah, really short. Nobody knows in detail. The point about the gambling regulator, which is being established, there's an office now 110 open positions. I'm not sure if any has been filled. And there's a period now. And again, it's sort of another period in this implementation of another 2 years. So the gambling regulator will only take over 2023. And I guess we certainly will have an answer by 2023. But right now, it's a little bit unclear. And now there's parallel streams happening. One is gambling law and one is tax law. And when the gambling law is implemented on 1st of July, not much changes on the 2nd of July, because at that point, nobody has a license yet. However, what can change and what's highly likely to change, it's expected this month, next month, that the tax law will be implemented, that by 1st of July, we have a 5.3% turnover taxation in Germany. So now that means there's something legal to enforce suddenly, that there's something gray market companies, European-based companies, let's put it like this, will have a hard time overcoming this. I think there will be legal challenges, many of those. But from what I understand legally and what I hear from the operators I speak to, even if you have success legally, it's going to take a lot of time. So the reality of the next 6 months is very few people are going to have a license. Maybe the first people are going to have a license in October, November. Who knows in detail? Maybe earlier. I don't know. Very few people know. I think that people giving out the licenses don't know. So, but now you have this issue, like you mentioned, that the MGA only certifies below, only above 92%. And now you're asking why MGA? We are in Germany now. Yeah, why do I need an MGA license or an MGA certificate? I think the issue now is once the tax law is in place on 1st of July, you will need games below a certain RTP in order to be profitable. And since those same companies won't have a license on the 2nd of July, they will continue trading under MGA rules into Germany while having to offer lower RTP. So I'm in direct touch with the MGA, and there is a statement coming out, I hear, to address this problem. I haven't heard that how they're going to address it, but there will be a public statement from the MGA how to address it. I have done exceptions previously with the MGA. When in a previous company we did scratch cards, we got exemptions to run them at 50% RTP. So the MGA does this on a regular basis to give exceptions to operators. But I guess in order for the MGA to not be overrun with every operator on the island basically asking for an exception, they're preparing a public statement to most likely allow this. However, now it's the next point. Nobody has because it's not allowed to have games below 92% currently, there's going to be a tight squeeze in terms of certifications, because suddenly you need to recertify games in June, presumably, for 1st of July. It's going to be a huge strain on all the certification houses, and there's going to be a delay in bringing product back. So what I'm hearing from sources is most companies will basically say, well, I'm going to recertify my top 10 games. So everybody will have 10, 15, 20 games in the market by 1st of July, if that's how the timeline will happen with the tax law, which means there's going to be a lot less games available in the market. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so just proclaim or just claim we have a solution for certification of games. Then, as you already mentioned, taxes. Taxes is always a big thing in Germany, right? We're kind of keen on paying taxes. So the question is, because there are rumors floating around. First of all, it was mentioned, okay, we have a taxation rate of 5.3%. Then this the formula how to actually calculate the taxation turned out to have an effective taxation of 5.0.3%, right? Although it's kind of 3.5% less than already claimed, it's still a massive change in the overall game of taxation, RTP, etc. So what are the possible solutions which clearly come to your mind with respect to taxation? The overall rule is pretty clear. Something needs to be taxed. But what are your thoughts about the taxation, how it could work from your point of view?
Yeah. So from a logistical point of view, the turnover taxation provides almost an opportunity, so to say, because, and I think almost every game supplier is currently thinking about how to find a way to offer a good gaming experience, paying a reasonable amount of tax and having an experience the player is used to. And so the simple thought process is, well, it's the tax is on turnover at the top, not at the bottom. Meaning, if you find a way to, if a player plays for €1, wins €1, keep that €1 in the system before the player bets it again, or when the player bets it again, then that second bet isn't exposed to another tax, but it's exposed to RTP. So it's at the same time, you save the tax and lower the RTP at the same time and keep the gaming experience the same. The difficulty a little bit here is how to implement it. And we have been thinking about this for 2 months now. And we have a solution for this. It's called Bonus Spin. We're going to announce it officially on our website after the show. But the idea in principle is simple. You try to keep the money in the system. The tough part is there's a few points in the regulation which make a solution a little bit more complex than you would think. For instance, there's 2 points in the regulation. One is the 𝗥𝗏𝗰𝗀𝗏, that you're not allowed to accumulate wins for future spins, basically. So that makes it hard. That was intended for progressive jackpots. But the sentence is very, very clear that you might have a hard time sort of, collecting a euro win for a future spin as well. So that's going to be hard. And another point which makes it harder is that you have to have everything in one game round. And this all combined makes it hard to find a good solution, basically. Another point is credits are not allowed, or coins. So you can't convert euro into some other currency, let's say a secondary wallet of tickets or anything. I think you can't. The regulation wanted to get rid of coins, so people are not sort of not diving into a more artificial world of currency they don't understand anymore. Instead of euros, I'm spending 10 coins. So I think it's a good piece of sort of sentence in the regulation, but obviously there's unintended consequences. You can't sort of accumulate secondary wallets. I think this sentence also means. So it becomes a little bit hard. So our solution is relatively simple. We call it a bonus spin. So instead of the example of €1, you bet €1, you win one bonus spin, which has the equivalent value of €1, which you have to stake again because it remains in the game, in the same game round as well. And by being in the same game round, it's exposed to RTP. So it lowers the RTP on a mathematical level. It keeps the what we call experienced RTP exactly the same. And it keeps the tax low, because suddenly you can do mathematical RTPs of 85%, 88%, while what we call the experienced RTP, so it's the identical experience, relatively identical experience to the player, is a 92 or 94% game. So that's the answer. And I think a lot of suppliers are thinking about the same thing. And it's actually on our homepage right now, and we're gonna push it out to my channels after the show.
Oh, so this might be a solution to actually solve the overall complexity of taxation and how it could work, and how this actually would drive players away from the German markets, which the statement of 𝗥𝗏𝗰𝗀𝗏 study and Gustav just stated,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. When you play slots, for instance, when you play a slot, you win €1. I mean, 99.9% of the time you restake that €1. So you're not really changing anything. We're not really we're not putting anything in the player wouldn't do anyways. So we think it's a really, really good idea. And also, obviously, because it's a bonus spin, it's part of the same game round, you were already exposed to your 5 seconds. So you can speed up the other spins a little bit more. So I think you can push down, the average spin time to maybe 4 seconds, actually, essentially, while staying 100% compliant. What we are doing with this mechanic is actually technically the same as a free spin. Free spins aren't blocked or not allowed, as far as I understand. But instead of paying out every 50th time or 40th time with some special features, a bonus spin, the way we call it, is another spin happening quite often against the base game. So it's the same mechanic. Hence, it's fairly guaranteed that it's compliant. Otherwise, every game which has free spin on the market will be also shut down, which is unlikely. Yeah, we've tested this against compliance departments of big companies. I read the regulation up and down, and we keep in touch with industry insiders to challenge us on this idea. And yeah, I'm also happy to share the idea. Happy to be copied, actually, if it means we as a company contributing positively to the German iGaming industry.
Yeah, so there's always a chance in a regulated market. So of course, some of the players, hopefully not a massive amount of the players, might just shift to the unregulated market as well, because this is always the thing we need to keep in mind. So in the end, first of all, of course, it's about paying taxes, obviously, but in the end, it's also to actually protect the player, to keep the player in the regulated market. And for a player, just think about it as a shop. If you just enter a shop and you like what you see, you will probably stay and buy the thing that you can see, instead of just going for a different type of offer, which is quite obvious and easily in our beautiful online world. So do you think from your perspective, this, first of all, regulation is a good thing, or is it a bad thing? And then if the market participants stick to the rules, how could this increase the player protection from your point of view?
Yeah, I think I've said this before, like many years ago, and there's one component which I like in the regulation. Actually, it's similar in the Swedish regulation, other regulation. I like it a lot, which is you can block yourself basically, and in the future it's going to be a central register. Because I mean, if you have some responsible gaming problems as a person, we all know, you block yourself and then you go to the next casino and you can play again. Of course, that's not implemented yet. It will take some time till the infrastructure exists, but that's generally good. Yeah, the limits, there's limits in place. I think all we can do now is it's our reality. Let's see what we can do in that reality. Yes, I think I agree with the channelization rate will not be 90%. I think, though, when next year the state lotteries, the German state lotteries, join in the market as well, or this year already maybe, they have a lot of trust, a lot of marketing power. And so the hope is maybe it's not 50%, maybe it's 60%. And then I guess it's going to take some time till there will be a review of the channelization rate, and then maybe things will be optimized. But what's going to realistically happen? Maybe €1, €2, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, €1,000, €2,000. But this is our reality, and it's fine. And there are solutions in place, like the one I've suggested, where you can mitigate a lot actually from this.
Okay, so Robert, thanks for your time. Thanks for the insight.
Thank you.
And as stated, maybe the German market is not overall madness; it's a chance.
Yeah. All right. True. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your time, and thanks to the audience and all the guys and girls listening to us as well. Thank you.